Hello, my name is Gilda Grope, and I will be going over my middle school population. So, why soccer for middle school boys? Well, there are various reasons as to why I chose this specific population. More than anything, I like it because this is a time where everyone is pretty much changing as far as they're building their own personalities, they're trying to identify with certain groups, they're trying to figure out who they are. There are a lot of hormones floating around. So this is the time where a lot of people start to discover their likes, their dislikes, how they cope with certain things, especially if they're in an athletic team. There are going to be times where they're going to lose or where they're going to win or maybe even end up in a tie. So I like that. I like seeing how they're able to work with others, how they also work with themselves. This is also where we begin to see how they're exploring their strengths and weaknesses, their likes, their dislikes. Are they a team player or are they more individualistic? Those are various reasons, but also because I grew up in a Mexican culture where soccer was, well, yeah, is the big thing at my house. And then from then I went on to playing soccer myself for a little bit, and honestly, it helped me get away from things that I was having at home, and it was a good escape. It was a good way of having another family as well, being part of something. So, as I have been learning through this course, so there are some factors that affect both physical and social environment, and this is more than anything what is affecting these athletes are four main things, but the first one would be stress. Why? Because stress is something that everyone has, and we just kind of cope with it differently. For these middle school boys, they're growing more than anything, as I mentioned previously. There are certain people that either they hit puberty right away as soon as they're a certain age. Bam, they grow up. They're I'm actually like 5'5", and there are others who are still 4'10". Then, so one of the stressors is student athletes begin to compare themselves. They are thinking, well, why am I not growing? They might go to their parents and ask them, why am I not growing? My friend is taller, stronger than me. And it can affect them both physically, for one, because they're comparing themselves, whether they are stronger, faster, taller. And well, that's the physical aspect. The social aspect is that they might be withdrawing themselves. They might feel that they're not having that attention that the other player is having. So that can affect them in that part. They might want to quit. They might feel they're not bringing the same amount of sportsmanship that the other player is with their team. Another stressor is that they are learning to balance their life. These are athletes who not only have a responsibility of practicing and going to certain meets and all of that, but they also have to balance their academic life. They have to make sure that at home they do their chores, that they are able to do their homework, and they do good on tests, because they have to have a certain grade point average in order to still be in an athletic team. If not, they're going to be dropped. So they have to learn how to adapt to that, and if they don't know how to deal with that stress with school and a team, then one or the other is going to suffer. And most of the time, the one that gets let go is the soccer team. Why? Because in order for the student or the athlete to be in the team, they have to have good grades, and if they don't have those good grades, then they're temporarily off the team until they can get those grades again and get them up. And so Then another of the factors that affect these athletes for middle school is motivation. So they have to find their own motivation aside from trying to see, well, I want to do this because I want to, but they have to find a way to say, okay, well, I want to go in there because I want to be part of something, or they're there to be with friends. It helps to increase their confidence as well, and they learn new skills. And more than anything, it's good for both physical and social environment because they gain new insight, they find new friends, they're able to go to different areas if they're traveling, especially for away games. Another factor is anxiety, and anxiety is a big thing because if they're not prepared to play or they feel really nervous, they might feel anxious, they might feel jittery, like they don't know what's going on. But it's not only something that has to do with part of soccer, but what happens is that maybe that athlete has other things on their mind. They may have a test. They are stressing because they have a test the next day and they might not have enough time to do all of their homework, study, do their chores. So that can create some anxiety. So what's going to happen? It's not going to allow the athlete to focus or concentrate. And so it can, some people can hyperventilate. They can get that tunnel vision. The tunnel vision is when you just are going this way, you forget about your surroundings. Your peripheral vision is obscured, and that can also be bad because physically, what can happen is if the athlete is not paying attention, they can bump into somebody, or maybe if there's a hole in the grass or an indentation, they twist their ankle, they injure themselves. Why? Because they're not paying attention. And or what also can happen is that the parents or family members may think that the student, or in this case the athlete, is unable to perform under pressure. So that can also increase that athlete's anxiety level even further. The next is the need for feedback. So why the need for feedback? It's very important, especially if the athlete is not having a good day. They may feel down and they won't be able to focus. And sometimes people just need to hear a little positive note and say, okay, it's fine. So we just need to make sure that sometimes it can be from the coach or from another place. Say, it's okay, you'll get it next time. And positive feedback not only helps oneself, but it helps everybody more than anything. Everybody wants to hear something good. They don't just want to hear negative things. It can cause some depression, or well, not depression. It can cause somebody to feel belittled or feel sad because they don't feel that they're bringing enough. And I actually put this little man right here, and this is, what athletes can go by, especially the middle school ones. They're going through stress, family, well, maybe not money, but friends, work, everything. So for goal settings, as mentioned, there are 3 types of goals: outcome goals, performance, and process. So what are outcome goals? Outcome goals are the result of an event in a competition. So whether it comes from winning or making other points. And 2 of my set outcome goals for my middle school players is that communication and being able to assess the situation is very important, because communication is key more than anything, especially in a team. We want to make sure that if you're really far away and say, hey, signaling the other players, like, hey, I'm open, or you get that person, they're kicking this way, or something. So one of those strategies that I was able to find was that it can help a coach can help develop communications during practice. So we want to make sure we have those students paying attention and say, hey, this way, or hey, that way, I need to go. Another outcome goal that I had for my middle school population was being able to assess the situation. So we want to challenge these athletes. We want to make sure that during practice we try and challenge them, so when there is a game, they are not surprised. And let's see, 2 performance goals. And 2 of the performance goals are is a goal when they want to achieve from the athletes aside from the competitors. So something that we want the athletes to be better at. So we want to make sure that they're getting better at dribbling and making sure that other players have good agility. And my strategy for that is to have the athletes practice in different ways of dribbling, not just one way. Maybe go around in circles, or instead of going in straight fashion, go zigzags. And I want to have obstacles for them to enhance their agility. Process goals, they're here to focus on the actions that a person must engage during the activity to either execute or perform well. So that's being able to have a focused athletes and checking that the athletes who play defense have good agility. Again, we want to try and cause some distractions during practice. That way, when it comes into effect in a game, there's going to be music, there's going to be fans, they're going to be screaming, they're going to try and get their attention, and the athlete's job is to mainly keep their focus. So we want to make sure that that we're helping the athletes with this. And actually, imagery, when I was going over in the video previously that I had to make, I learned that imagery is actually, it's pretty good. It can soothe somebody. It can help them decrease their anxiety levels. For my mission statement is Jeremiah 30:17 is, "For I will restore health to you, and your wounds I will heal, declares the Lord, because they have called you an outcast. It is Zion for whom no one cares." I identify with this one because I'm going to be going into the healthcare field, and I'm here to help. I want to make sure people get better. I don't care who they are. I just want to make sure I don't like seeing people in pain. So I want to make sure that I can help them. It doesn't matter if they're short, tall, they're yelling at me or not, but I'm going to be there no matter what. I'm just going to try and talk them through it and go from there. And what have I learned? There are 2 main things that I've learned. As I mentioned, imagery for me, it was very powerful because actually last week I was going through almost like a panic attack, and I was just like, okay, deep breath. So I was just kind of walking myself through it, and I learned that the mind is a very powerful thing. And I just want to make sure that I'm going to take that with me because it did help. And the other part is that I'm very amazed that I knew that athletics was mainly focused on the physical, and knowing the mental aspect and how much an athlete carries with them and how it can help them by imagery, goal settings, having things written down, that really helped me learn. And that's something I'm always going to carry with me. And I'll be able to implement it in the future, especially for me, for my goal settings, because I tend to have I'm all over the place pretty much. So I like to write things down now and just have a goal for me and make sure that I keep it and I have it in a visible place. That way I don't forget about it. And those are my references, but other than that, I'd like to thank you for your time. And I hope you learned something about my middle school population and why I chose it and some of the things the athletes go through. Thank you.